It's 10 o'clock. It's time for the council to be in session. Mr. Alatorre is here. We have 2 members present. We need 8 more for a quorum.
Hi.
From the clerk's office, and this Gail Weingart, city attorney.
Hi, how are you?
She staffs the council, keeps
was talking to the kids. Thanks for reminding me, because I would have completely forgot. All right. Well, thanks. Oh God, that's another ugly guy there. Speak just so they can get,
Council will please come to order. Call the roll.
Alatorre, Burnson, Chick, Fuhr, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Burley Thomas, Warren, Swax, Walters, Farrar. 10 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the council will please come to order. Mr. Shapiro, would you take your bows elsewhere where you have a council meeting to run? This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 25th day of May, 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Ms. Goldberg moves, Ms. Chick seconds. There's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There are no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Item number 3 on the regular agenda, a request to continue until June 15th.
Item number
3.
Item number 3. Is there any objection to continuing item number 3 until June 15th? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item.
Item number 1 on the regular agenda is items noticed for public hearing.
Is there anybody in the chamber that wants to be heard on item number 1? Hearing protest against proposed improvements and maintenance of Hazeltine Avenue and Sherman Way Lighting District. Anybody want to be heard? We have no cards. Seeing none, we'll continue this item until June 15th, the hearing and the ordinance. That will be the order. Next item.
Item number 2 on the regular agenda.
Let's wait until we get 12 votes. It's an ordinance. Next item.
Item number 5.
Item number 5. Is there any discussion on item number 5? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Items number 6 through 17 on the regular agenda are items for which public hearings have not been held. Items number 7 and 8 are ordinances.
Okay, anybody want to be heard? We have somebody who wants to be heard on 13. We'll call that special.
Ms. Chick has requested item number 14 be called special.
Item 14, Mrs. Chick. Any others? Item 15, called special. 6, Mr. Alatorre, you want to call 6 special? We'll just call it special for...
No, you're right here.
We'll call it special anyway.
John, I'm here.
Yeah, it's 6, you want... Oh, I know, but you want to, 6 you want to call special? It's the budget. It's the budget. Okay, all right. No. Okay, we have 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, and 17. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. 6 forthwith. 6 forthwith. Okay, Mr. Wax.
Very much, Mr. President.
Mr. Wax for President.
Yes, Mr. President, members of council, I wanted to just interrupt the proceedings for a moment to introduce some very special people that we have with us today. We have 60 students from the 5th grade at Valerio Street Elementary School. They're here with their teachers, Yvette Lewinter and Debbie Torres. They're being guided in their tour by a friend of ours, Leonard Shapiro, and they're visiting City Hall,
That's cute.
having an opportunity to see how
Nice
their
kids.
government works. They're going to visit the 911
Yes.
center. We think you're great, and we hope that you'll come back and visit us again soon.
Hey, Joe.
Tell
him about
Mr.
7
Alatorre.
o'clock. Mr. Just for the kids' information, for the teachers, at 7 o'clock or 7:30, they have a replay of the council session, and you can watch yourself on television.
Channel 35.
Channel 35.
Oh, that's cute.
Joel.
They'll be picking this. I'm sorry, I haven't learned everything.
Members, so we have the ordinance 2 and 4, 7 and 8. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved.
Wipe them out.
Forthwith? On which one?
4, 7, and 8.
Forthwith on 4, 7, and 8. Next item,
Item number 13, called special.
13, we have Norris Kite. Morris Kite. Members of the council, I want to point out that Morris Kite, who has a walker, had to come up 3 flights of stairs without an elevator. Morris, you are a courageous man.
I was determined, Mr. Ferraro. President Ferraro, members of the council, I'm here on item 13, which has to do with HAPA. I've appeared before the council for 42 years on the subjects generally of housing, social services, health services, jobs, and justice. Today, I believe the HAPA item entails all those rubrics. I have a degree in public administration from a university headed by Dr. John Pfiffner, the founder of the modern science of public administration. The mantra that we young public administrators were taught were audit, budget, and control. We have an audit done by the city controller, which I hope that somebody in the city government takes seriously. I hope somebody takes it to account and finds out what the controller is talking about. The audit points up that all agencies should be preparing for an audit at every day of their lives, including not-for-profit agencies. They should all prepare for an audit, and there should be audit for jobs and program and expenditure of funds. And that has not been done, according to the report by the controller. We believe that the HAPA program needs to have attention paid to a budget, that the amount of money available needs to be adjudicated, and plans made, strategic planning plans made to disperse it. We think that's not being done. On control, we believe that the HAPA funds are under the control of people who have a conflict of interest. That is in the auditor's report. In this city, there are university professors and retired people and a great many people who would be willing, I'm sure, by invitation, to run the HOPWA agency, other than those who have a conflict of interest. Let me become very personal and say that we have sought ongoing, frank, progressive conversations with the HOPWA management, and we believe that we have not been respected. Also, the HOPWA management has accused us of guile, of a conflict of interest. No agency at which I have voice and vote is a candidate for HOPWA funds. Thank you.
Mickey Jackson that wants to be heard also.
Good morning. Well, I guess even a closed elevator doesn't stop Morris, so it's impressive, isn't it?
He's a fabulous individual.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel privileged to have worked with him all these years, and I learned a lot from him. A lot of the things he's saying. I run a very small nonprofit. I mean, everything we do practically comes from the proceeds of one thrift store in Hollywood. And we keep really good books. We have a whole system, 3 layers of checks and balances, a professional bookkeeper that we use, a professional CPA, a treasurer, myself, really going over things. And at any time, anybody who wants to see our books can see them. We're very proud of them. We're proud of what we do with our money. This is the 2nd year anniversary of what I think, if I worked for HOPWA, I would be very ashamed of. 2 years ago in April, we had to use the good offices of a council person to get a simple report of where the funds were with the HOPWA agency because they don't give those away. I don't know why. Everyone is supposed to be able to get financial reports rapidly and easily from any city agency. For months, we then tried to deal with HOPWA. We never were able to get meetings, phone calls returned. After about 6 or 8 months, we began meeting with city council offices. That resulted in Mr. Wax and Mr. Hernandez making a motion, oh gosh, it was over a year ago, to get a simple financial spreadsheet from HOPWA. Can you imagine if every single department in this city were so dysfunctional, you had to have a city council motion just to look at the spreadsheet? And that took some 6 months to get. I mean, this is, if there were ever red flags flying of problems. Now, we found out 2 years ago there were $16 million unspent. That means unencumbered, unallocated, unspent. We now have something like $17 million unspent. It's like 2 years of a lot of work, and we're right where we were. We haven't progressed at all. Their own report shows that vast numbers of people with AIDS are homeless. We have spent 2 years of council offices trying to do something, of us trying to do, nothing has changed in 2 years. The picture remains much the same, except 2 years of suffering and hardship by people with AIDS, 2 years of exacerbating a public health emergency through homelessness, making something that's bad worse. So in those 2 years, we've also seen the city attorney's office come to a HOPWA meeting and declare votes and people who are voting to be in conflict of interest. We have the city attorney's office now looking into the past votes, which means that many of the recommendations that you will vote on today were made by a committee where conflict of interest has been ruled to exist by the city attorney's office, and the very votes of that committee that brings this to you are most likely in conflict of interest and will be ruled so by the city attorney. We had a motion that I thought was excellent last council meeting by Mr. Wax, Mr. Hernandez, to take this back, to give 3 months for the programs to function. The administrators of the program said it would be fine, they could continue to function for 3 months, and then lo and behold, they were whole different human beings. In the newspaper a few days later, they had to suspend services. So with that club, I believe they have brought forth this motion today. With that kind of pressure, which goes with the 2 years of disinformation that we have received in dissembling. Therefore, we've filed a lawsuit. We may have to file more. We don't know. We obviously we can't get anywhere. 2 years of people of suffering homelessness and nothing happening. Obviously, we can't get somewhere through the city council. The city council people can't even get anywhere. The motion of Mr. Wax and Mr. Hernandez to have a hearing on this in committee is gone. There will be no hearing. Instead, there was a private meeting with the department, and lo and behold, we are doing exactly what the department wants, with no review, with nothing. We're just going to rubber stamp the money. $5 million, they've had that much money in this program year after year, and they never spend it. What's different this year? Nothing. They say that we don't understand the program. They have to re-qualify these clients every 3 months. These clients, they still have AIDS in 3 months. It didn't go away. They're the same people. Every 3 months, they drag these people in to requalify them. They say, oh, you don't understand. HUD says we have to do this. HUD, I called HUD this morning. They said there is no federal regulation. That is a city policy. You have again received this information. We will cease to use the city council, I believe, as an effort. We've given up. We're sorry. 2 years. We tried. We will monitor, but from now on, I believe our efforts will have to go through the courts.
Okay, thank you. And I think that Morris will probably tell you that you should be more briefer when you make a presentation. Thank you very much for coming. Public here. We have item number 13 before us. Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask Mr. Gary Penny to come up and address some of the questions that were brought at the public hearing on regards to this issue. I basically have two questions I just need answered, and that way we can rest assured. When we initially passed the motion extending the contracts for 3 months, we were under the impression that that would allow the programs to continue. And the reality was there was some disruption for 1 day. We were able to get it flowing again. But I want you to explain why that disruption existed. I also want you to explain why it is that you want this motion to pass, how it will affect the services that we're providing, and so that the public understands clearly why the council is doing what we're doing. My second question is going to be in regards to the having to reapply or give information every 3 months as part of the HUD requirement. What I've heard in public comment is that it's not a HUD requirement, that it's a city policy, and I want to have that issue straightened out at this time.
There was disruption on the 3 months. We had to redo the budgets, work with all the operating agencies to resubmit 3 months budgets. We could not just prorate those by 1 quarter of the year. Some of the items were front-loaded, and that was why there was disruption of the 1 day. We did expedite that as quickly as possible, worked with the agencies and worked with the controller's office. These 3 contracts would extend the services for a year. It would be the short-term rent. This is based on a shelter partnership study on the allocations that was done in January that was made available. We previously come in with the long-term rent subsidy program. The short-term would be $5.1 million total. It would also extend the supportive services for the full 12 months for a total of $3.1 million. That provides for vouchers for emergency housing and various other case management services, and then also would extend the the LAMP contract for the full 12 months to reach outreach to the homeless population. Marty, I'm going to turn the other over to you on the contract requirements.
Penny, what you didn't quite answer was why the 3-month extension doesn't allow, why you're asking us to do what originally you asked us to do after the council took gave 3 months so that we could review the issue. There's a reason why you're coming back with this motion today. And that's
yes, it is in order to get these in place so that contract agencies have the certainty that they're going to get funding.
For some quiet so we can hear this presentation. It's very important.
Thank you, Mrs. Walters. Mike, would you tell your man to get away from the... Sergeant, would you clear those people out?
Mr. President, members of the council, this would allow the agencies to have the certainty of funding to provide the services that were recommended by the Shelter Partnership Study in January. Staff will start looking for jobs and that sort of thing and leaving the agencies if there isn't stability. And the clients of that receive these services need the stability to know that they're going to be receiving these services for the next 12 months. Marty.
Good morning. I'm Marty LaHive. I coordinate the HOPA program throughout the County of Los Angeles. Councilman Hernandez, in answer to your second question, the issue of reapplication is incorrect. When people come in for the subsidy every quarter, what they do is fill out a form, a one-pager, that provides the address and other information that the person is still living in the residence that they applied for the assistance for, and it also assists in the case management and housing planning in moving eligible persons through the continuum of services.
Is that, the question was, is it a HUD requirement or a city policy?
It is not a HUD requirement, it is city contractual requirement.
Why is that?
Well, we don't want to hand out checks haphazardly. We need to know that the people are still living in the apartment units or in the homes that we're paying the rent on.
Did you represent to my staff person that it was a HUD requirement?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, because he told me that it was represented to him that it was a HUD requirement.
Well, it must have been a misunderstanding. HUD is pretty flexible with regards to local control. When we do contracts with agencies locally, we do establish the policies.
So then you basically are asking us to approve funding for 12 months for the agencies who distribute these checks, when you ask for and then you're rechecking with the applicants every 3 months.
Yes.
I think it's more of a verification that they have to verify that they're still in the apartment that they're living in. We do have to, even though HUD provides us flexibility, we do have HUD audits and have to verify that the recipient is actually receiving the services that the check is being given for.
Mr. Wax?
Mr. President, members of Congress, I'm really concerned by the ongoing and continued criticism by people who I deeply respect about the program. We fought hard to get to where we're at. We became the first city with a full-time AIDS coordinator. We lobbied for more funds. Mayor Bradley took an active role in years past. And I'm concerned. I've always had confidence in our own people. And I also have great respect for people like Mr. Kite, Ms. Jackson, Mr. Weinstein, and others. Now we have an audit by Mr. Tuttle. I don't know who's right and who's wrong in all this, to tell you the truth, but I'm not comfortable just taking this action and letting it go. It's not the concern that I have with 12 months. 12 months will go fast, too. As you know, 12 months is not a long time. But somehow or other, during that 12 months, we have got to somehow come to grips with the questions that are raising. I think that this is a case where someone may be right and someone may be wrong. I don't know. But I think we need answers. I don't think we could just keep sweeping this and the audit and the criticisms under the rug. I think we really need to publicly sort of come to grips with the issues that have been raised. And I'm not really opposed to this, because while we're doing that, if we do that, it'll take, I don't want any service disrupted, and I know that 12 months can go by very, very quickly, but passing this today just can't be taken as, okay, then everything is fine now, because it isn't fine. It's not going to go away. And I don't really want to take sides right now, because I don't really know who's right or wrong, and maybe it's a matter of just differences of opinion too. I'm not sure, but I want to ask you at the table, what are you going to do beyond this to somehow try to reconcile or come to grips with the criticisms that have been raised by some people in the community and by the controller?
Council member, we have a proposal. We have $200,000 in the money that becomes available in July. We're proposing that a management assessment program evaluation be done with a steering committee That would include the CLA, CAO, controller, the housing department, and also representatives from the community. We want that information available before we bring RFP.
We need to get I think we need to find people who all sides would agree are credible and without self-interest, so that we can have a sort of an independent look at this by people whose credentials can't be criticized. There are a great number of people who themselves or their agencies or their affiliations would not have something necessarily to gain at stake, but yet could give us a somewhat of an independent look at this. I'm concerned of issues of conflict interest. I'm concerned, but I'm also concerned that people may also be looking out for their own interests too, and I'm not so ready to jump to that. But I need people beyond the city family from the outside who are independent and qualified, who all people would agree are capable of helping to make an assessment, to take a look at this as well. And I would be hoping we could work through Mr. Hernandez's committee towards something of that nature, because I don't. Otherwise, we're not going to ever satisfy. I mean, I think we need an independent look at this.
We're going to bring back to the joint committees of Councilmember Hernandez and Councilmember Savornich, and we will have a full propose a steering committee so that everybody can see
Would you also get community input even on your proposal, so that we'll know up front when we come to deal with that proposal how people feel about it?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. I've had communications from some people who are quite ill, and apparently for this 3-month verification, they have to come into an office to do that?
No, case managers, housing planners will go out to the person's home and see them there, have
Does
them...
everybody understand that?
That's part of the program, yes.
Well, apparently the persons who communicated with me didn't understand that. And that was one of the things that they were objecting to.
Home visits are a part of the program. It's not necessarily funded out of the HOPWA grant. It is a medical service, but it does happen.
How does one go about getting a home visit for this 3-month verification?
As far as I know, all they have to do is ask their case manager or their housing planner at the organization that they receive services from, and someone will be sent out to do that.
We'll be happy to follow up on this individual.
Would you please, Mr. Penny, check that out?
Yes.
And let me know what you have found?
I will, we'll follow up on that and report back to you.
Because something happened somewhere along the line that made people feel that they had to physically get up and go into an office.
Maybe there was something in the system that didn't work like it was supposed to. We need to know that, too.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, we have item 13 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Number 14 called special.
Mrs. Chick, you call 14 special?
Mr. President, and colleagues, I have a very simple and direct question on this. I just wanted to ask about the unspoken rule, unwritten policy about not charging fees to other government entities, which I could probably make an argument for, but I do like us to act in a consistent way. So
Yes,
if you could address that about waiving these kinds of, I think my colleague is referring specifically to B permit fees or the Bureau of Engineering fees.
Yes, Councilwoman, that may have been a little miscommunication or understanding. We have Homer Morimoto, the engineering staff, program manager for that program, would be glad to explain the type of fees that are waived in accordance with the code requirements that we do have currently. So Homer will address that.
Okay, and before you respond, I also would like you to include in your explanation about waiving fees to our own city departments, like for instance when police stations are being built or fire stations, those kinds of things.
Homer Morimoto, Bureau of Engineering. Council member, in that motion that you have before you today, what we were referring to basically were governmental agencies that we have reciprocal agreements with, that we do work in their jurisdiction, and so they do work in our jurisdiction, like the County of Los Angeles, Public Works, they waive all their fees for us, and the State of California, Caltrans, City of Glendale, and these are the ones that we waive administratively.
Because they do the same for us.
They do the same for us, that's correct. But the cities that don't waive, like the Culver City, we charge them because they charge us fees, so we charge them fees also. For the city departments, basically all the city departments, we don't charge any fees except for the proprietary departments, the library department, and the recreation and parks.
Why for those?
Because those are excluded in the code.
We don't charge.
In the city code?
We do charge them. They're not included. The city departments that don't have their own revenue source, we don't charge. Like the police department would not be charged.
Well, in fact, the police department does collect a variety of fees. I'm not sure that I would think that the Department of Libraries and the Department of Recreation and Parks has enormous revenue streams.
But the code specifically excludes them from being exempt from paying fees.
So maybe that's something we need to take a look at. I'm
Yes,
going
it's
to
section
listen.
11.08.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the introducer of the motion and then determine my vote.
Hernandez?
Mr. President, members of the council, I also rise to ask a few questions. How much are we talking about waiving in fees here?
Approximately between $3,000 and $7,000 for this case, for this
Okay.
particular case, the two pocket parks.
The part of the motion that was most bothersome to me was it said there's an unwritten policy. And I don't know what that means, that we waive these fees. And with all due respect to the maker of the motion, I know that he is into policies and he cares a lot about children. One of the things that's bothersome to me is right now, and I want, for example, everybody to know, because I will be coming back with a motion, I'm trying to build a safe passageway for kids in Lincoln Heights. And part of the problem is we have $50,000 in fees in trying to create a safe passageway in a public works project. Basically, it's an industrial park that we're dealing with, and we have an EDA grant. We're trying to build this wall. We're trying to create a safe zone, and the real issue is a passageway for kids along the LA River. And there's one of the things that's prohibitive is the total cost, but most of it is city-imposed cost. Now, I bring it up because what I heard today says I could use that unwritten policy, hopefully to benefit that project. And when we weigh these projects, I think that if we're doing something to benefit kids, to benefit open space, it makes some sense. And it really depends on the kind of work that has to be done. I didn't rise to oppose this motion, but I did rise to bring the issue out that I think that we have to look at the public benefit as a reality why we want to waive it. We should also, no different than we do for special events, on the motions disclose the cost that we're being asked to waive. Because the reality is the department ends up having to bear those costs in some form or another. Some of these fees are basically related to the amount of work that we have to do. And so from my perspective, again, it's one, in waiving the fees, there is a burden that's being picked up by the general fund. And so I just would ask that in future motions like this, we disclose the amount that we're being asked to waive, and the public benefit is clear in this case, so I want to support it. But I also wanted to bring to your attention that there'll be times when we bring motions in that clearly have a benefit, but I'll be asking for the same kind of support.
Mr. Fuhrer? It's okay. Move the question. Okay, we have item 13 before us? Huh? 14. Yeah, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Item 15, Ms. Sakowski? Huh? Forthwith on 14.
Item 15 is a motion asking the city to support legislatively bills that have been introduced in the State Assembly and the U.S. Senate, actually, dealing with the area codes and phone numbers. We are in an area where area codes in California have doubled since 1997, and we have had experience recently where within one area code there is now an overlay, so that within that area code 310, everyone within that area code has to dial a full 11 digits to call next door, to call down to the local stores, and it's not only an impediment in terms of doing business easily in one's own neighborhood, it also has created some security and significant problems for those kind of apartments and condo associations where you have entry only by dialing a phone number, and normally those are prepared to dial a 7-digit phone number and don't even have the capability to dial an 11-digit phone number, and so people have had difficulty, either had to unlatch their entire security system or spend a lot of money just to be able to have access to their own premises. So basically this supports having more rational planning, and it's not a question of, there is no shortage of phone numbers, there's just a shortage of rational planning. We have 80% of the phone numbers assigned to certain areas not being used because of the way the PUC has set up assignment of phone numbers and giving phone companies rights to 10,000 numbers at a time in phone banks, even if they're not going to use them. So this legislation asks for more rational planning, consistent with keeping areas intact and coming up with some other suggestions that will be more appropriate to deal with additional types of phone number services, whether it's modems, whether it's cell phones, whether it's faxes, and things of that nature. So this just puts the council on record in saying we support more rational planning and phone number distribution in area codes, and ask both the FCC, the PUC, and the CLA to be involved in letting these agencies know the city's concern about this matter.
Mr. President, members, I support this motion. It is a motion that is not required, in my view, to go to committee, and the reason why is that this is an item that we've discussed continuously. Each time the telephone companies try to adopt a new code, it has some negative impact on the way we do business in the city, and really, to a large extent, inconvenience to people in the region. So we've had that discussion. What this appears to be with the latest change is like an field test. The field test is that something where we've been used sort of as guinea pigs, and it is not working clearly when you have to dial 311, living in a 311 area, or if you have 2 telephone numbers in your own apartment, you have to dial the area code before you can dial the number. Something is inherently wrong with that. That's askew. So, Mr. President, members, I ask for an unanimous support on this motion, and hopefully that the PUC, the FCC will correct it immediately.
Okay, we have item 15. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Now is the time for public testimony on non-agenda items.
Okay, we have public comment. We have Christina Rivera.
Good morning, Mr. President and council members. I think I speak for most of us here, the 5th graders. When I say we want to thank you for inviting us here. I feel bad to see that the elevators are broken. I think it's good that you are suing the people that sell guns. I feel this way because when I see on the news that people get shot, I get scared because I don't know if I'm next or someone I know is going to get shot. Also, I'd like to thank you for all the things you've done during your career. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have another Christina Orozco.
Oh my God. Good morning, Mr. President and council members. I just want to thank you for this invitation to visit you.
Well, I am sorry to see that the elevators don't work. I hope they fix them so we can go to 911. Also, I thank Mr. Albert, Ms. Altori, Ms. Goldberg, Ms. Chick, and Mike Hernandez for speaking to us about the council. Thank you.
We would appreciate if you'd go to Randall Bacon's office and protest the elevators. Candido Mars. Candido, you missed Friday. I wanted to point out to Sergeant Ramirez that I wore the badge you gave me showing the prisoners, but you weren't here, and I wanted to introduce you to him.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But today I'd like to talk about the new charter. I guess I'm going to become a snake. I guess I'm going to become a traitor because that's what the article in the Daily News called members that were opposed to the new charter. It doesn't matter that I worked 27 years in the community trying to improve the quality of life for our city. It doesn't matter that I spent 14 years working with the Los Angeles Police Department, cleaning graffiti and cleaning our streets. It doesn't matter how much this council has tried to work together to improve the quality of life for our city. As these young people have stated, they wanted to thank you for what you've done. We could always look at the bad things, but this is something about looking at the good things. And one of the things that, as people have come from other countries have said, the thing about this city is that we are an example to the rest of the world that people can work together. And we can work together. And that's because we have a balance in this city. I'm not opposed to Mayor Reardon. I'm not opposed to the next mayor. But I want to see a balance. I want to know that my councilman is going to handle issues in my district. You know, they called you lords and ladies. That's not what I saw when I saw Mr. Burnson walking up and down hills trying to make sure people were informed about the Chatsworth Reservoir. So it's not against Mr. Reardon, but it's a matter of balance. And I believe the charter as it stands now is better than the new charter. And as Mr. Bill Hubert from Mrs. Chick's office or district has said, this is my world, from Chatsworth to San Pedro, and I want to do what's best for it. And I believe the new charter doesn't do that. Thank you.
I called you.
I didn't hear you. Mr. President and council members, I'd like to say a few words on this new city charter election that's coming up too. And the first thing I'd like to say is the big question that they bring up about length. They say the old charter is 700 pages long, and now they've cut it down to 143. And they say, isn't that wonderful? Well, I did some research on this matter, and I wrote to many cities in this state, and I got one charter back from the city of Sacramento. And for the record, it's 14 pages long. And as far as I'm concerned, it does everything that this charter that we're talking about now, that you put in here with 147 pages. Why do you need all this garbage in here? A lot of it can be put like they do in rules of procedure. It can be put in administrative code, and you throw the charter reform commissions have put a lot of it in administrative code anyhow. They've taken an awful lot out, and they've left a lot in. But I say there's no reason why, if they're going to brag about cutting down the charter from 700 pages to 143 pages, why they can't go one step further and let everybody understand other people can do it. Sacramento can do it in 14 pages, and there's no reason why the city of LA can't do it in similar fashion. Mr. President.
Okay. Yeah. The public comment period is over. Mr. Fuhrer? Take them up. Leonard, take them out to lunch now, will you, please? Leonard?
Yeah.
Leonard, take them out to lunch.
Yeah, your treat, Leonard. Mr. President?
Mr. Fuhrer?
I'll try again. Is it still timely to introduce a special motion I'd like to introduce a special motion, which I believe has been seconded at this point. Do you want to have Ms. Weingart speak to the findings, then I'll talk about the substance for a moment? Yeah, it should be distributed if it's not.
Regarding the elevators.
Yeah.
The reason the elevators aren't working is because this city council is not willing to give up enough power.
You know, I yield to my colleague, Mr. Wax. Gail, go ahead.
Oh, the arm twister Wax, they call him.
This motion is dealing with the sudden, unexplained, and definitely unscheduled failure of all the City Hall elevators today, and it's raised serious safety concerns that must be addressed immediately. Therefore, the council would need to make the findings that the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda. There's an immediate need to act. This motion also asks that the Department of General Services be instructed to immediately implement the City Hall elevator safety measures listed in the text of this motion.
Obviously having elevators.
Maybe we better vote on the findings first.
Oh, fine, okay, go ahead.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now the matter is before us. Mr. Fuhrer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Elevators occasionally will malfunction, but there are two issues here. One is we have to assure that when our elevators don't work, our stairwells are accessible. And for what it's worth, this is not the first time this issue has arisen. When the elevators don't work, sometimes the stairwells are not accessible. It's a public safety disaster in the making. And I think as a council, we need to be sure that the policy is expressed that that can never be so. Those stairwells always need to be accessible when the elevators aren't working. And the second issue is there was a rumor that they weren't working because of testing for Y2K. It was a false rumor, but let us also be sure that any testing for Y2K of any kind happens before or after business hours rather than during. So that's the purpose of the motion, principally the public safety issue, which arose today, and it was not acceptable. Define occasionally. Once in a blue moon.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, members, Y2K will be upon us, and it's real, not imaginary. And maybe this is such a test. I know it's been explained to be a rumor. I heard it as a rumor. But that's what happens when the bomb's about to drop. You get no warning. You'll get no warning when they implement the test. This is a field test operation, and it's real. Never before in the history of the City Hall than when all the elevators went down simultaneously. And that's what's happened, and that's what will happen at the turn of the century, possibly. So you have to be ready for it. You have to have the frame of mind to know that when there is a fire, you have to have an exit sign, how to escape. When the elevators do in fact stop operating, then what shall we do? It's almost like in school, called fire drill.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody would jeopardize their jobs or the health and safety of the people who work here by just arbitrarily permitting these elevators not to work for a period of time. That is not the case. However, the motion is proper if it is in fact not a test. And you will discover that if you approve the darn thing. But be assured that somebody's head should roll if that's not in fact the case. But to suggest that it just could be some negligence on the part of some employee by adopting the motion, that would suggest that. And I think that would be risky business. But that's up to you. You made the motion.
Okay.
You want it, you got it.
We were fined or pay penalty on our not paying our phone bill. Could it be that we haven't paid our water and power bill?
The lights are on.
Ms. Galanter?
Yeah, obviously, having all the elevators go out is a bad thing, and certainly having it happen during a time of day when predictably we have members of the public wandering around the building and coming to visit the council is a bad thing. But I'm a little concerned about saying that any tests that they have to do must be done off hours. I just, actually, a minute ago, was reading something that says there'll be a test which the ITA and General Services feel must be done under actual working conditions, but they've scheduled it for a Thursday, which is not a council day and not a day when we would expect to have a lot of people coming into the council meeting. I do think it's important, if we're going to be doing tests like that, that we post notice of that at all the entrances to the buildings, so that people who come to the building on that day, we should do it ahead of time. So if people don't have to come on that day for some business they're going to go to on the 10th floor, they will have the opportunity to schedule it. But I really just wanted to suggest maybe amending your motion to not require that all tests be done off hours, because I think we do need to know what happens when all the computers are on.
Mr. Savornich?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. I think this is a terrific motion that we're bringing in today, but I think it also, we need to speak a little bit more in regards to some of the issues that, in case of emergency, that we have not seen happen as of yet in this building and in others. When we were told that the elevators were down and we needed to take the stairs to get to the council chamber, half of the lights in the stairways were burnt out. And so one of the things that we have to be concerned, that if we know there's going to be some type of a test or power, that we need to be taking a look at things holistically. The other thing, just looking around this council chamber, fortunately we meet during the day, but if this room was occupied at night and there was a power failure, how would you find your way out of here? And, well, it's nice that maybe some of us have flashlight in our drawers, but I do not see any emergency lights except the exit signs, unless there's a light that shines below them that shows you where the doors are at and a way to get out. And I don't even know if we have that on our stairways. So I think that just by the elevators going out today has really shown some maybe serious problems that we have in regards to our fire and life safety issues, not only in this building, but in other buildings across the city of Los Angeles. And I thank you for it, Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Fuhrer?
Yeah. Again, a couple things. I think Ruth makes a good point, so I will orally amend the motion to direct General Services to conduct tests during business hours only when it's absolutely imperative. So.
And at times least likely.
And at times least likely to cause disruption. Fair enough. But I want to also underscore, we can't have a building where people, including emergency personnel, can't get up the stairs in an emergency. That was this morning. Mr. Savornich's points regarding the way our access routes are or are not lit and marked is a very good point. And the broader point, Rudy, that you made is, I think, compelling, and that is that we know what's happening here at City Hall because we were here today, but we have no clue as to whether there are adequate emergency ingress and egress procedures in any other public building in the city of Los Angeles. And I think that it would be appropriate to have, and Mr. Lee Thomas, who chairs the committee, is in here, to have a report from General Services that describes to us what those procedures and policies are that are in place elsewhere, so we know that they exist.
I'd be happy to bring in a motion if you
Okay, why don't we'll do that separately then on that basis. Anyway, that's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, we have a special one as amended. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Motions for posting and referral.
There are no objections, unanimous vote.
Council members' request for excuse from attendance at council meetings. Councilmember Galanter requests to be excused on May 28th to leave at 11 a.m. and excused on June 1st. City business meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Goldberg requests to arrive late on Wednesday, May 26th, meets policy for city business.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Bernson requests to be excused on May 25th, 26th, and 28th for personal business. Motion is required.
All right, Mr. Galanter moves, unanimous vote.
The desk is clear.
We have some adjourning motions, so would everyone please stand? Mr. Bernson's asked that I adjourn in memory of Rhoda Brudich, who passed away yesterday. She's a relative of Hal, a cousin, and survived by Bob and Francine Schuster and 2 sons and several grandchildren.
All members.
all members on that. And I also asked we adjourn in memory Sharon Prewitt Cadell. She was an active member of the Irene Dunn Gill, the Blue Ribbon of Los Angeles Music Center, and a dedicated volunteer at Sir Jones Service for battered women. She leaves a husband, Gerald, and a daughter, Stacy. I ask we adjourn in her memory.
Yes, I'd like to be a co-presenter with you on that.
Same.
All members. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I'm very sad to ask that we adjourn in memory of Ramona Roth, who was born in January of 1914. She raised 2 children in Hollywood. She was an activist in support of many progressive causes, the labor movement, the peace movement, and she was a remarkable woman. She leaves 2 daughters, Stephanie and Lanny, a granddaughter, Laura, a brother, a sister, and a great-aunt, and I will miss her.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, we ask that we adjourn in memory of Keon Jones. He's a very young man. He's the grandson of our longtime community senior citizen activist, Azalee Jones. He just passed away on May 15th, so we ask that we adjourn in his memory.
Call the roll. The council is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35.